a human being. That's it. Yeah, so within Wild Light is all about how do we tap into that place inside and bring it out? How do we remember that no matter what is happening in our lives, that light is still inside? So we are human beings, meaning we are beings. We're just animals in the world, really, and we're part of all of this beautiful wilderness. It's like we get so trapped in the thinking mind that we forget we are bodies, we are moving, and we can't control much, just like we can't control the weather. And there's such a beauty in all of that, in the surrendering to whatever is. And so I wanted a space where I could share ways in which we can tap into that space, that light inside of us that's always there. I have 18 million pictures when I'm out and about, because it's like I'll see the way that a vine is curling in the sky, and I'm just like, oh my God, I want to savor this moment. And so taking a picture, there's one way that taking out your camera can take you away from the moment, and there's another way that taking out your camera can connect you with it, because when I go back and I look at that photograph, it instantly brings me back to the feeling, sensations of that moment. And so when I'm walking and I see something and I know that I have a way to take a picture of it, I notice also that I pay attention more to the little things, and like that little, the way that something is curving or the color of something, it brings it more to the forefront of my mind, and then capturing that, and then I just want to share it, because it's like there's so much beauty in this earth. I feel like sometimes you just need to be reminded of it. Oh my goodness. My greatest passion, I think, is life. Just life. Like when you're walking in the woods and the sun comes through the leaves and you're just touched by the magic of it, and soaking up as much of this life as possible.
In what ways?
So it's really like a moment to moment thing. I feel like there's practice, there's sitting in meditation or in yoga or dancing or creating, but when you can bring a sort of presence to whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's just talking to your friend or eating or driving to work, it's this way of just tapping into life and that little spark that's always there. I feel like inspiration is something that just happens. Like you just see something and instantly something resonates, and I feel this fire that feels very urgent almost to create and get it out there. So when I was young, when I was 16, I had to make the decision to leave my house. And my family system was not built around safety and seeing and supporting the people in it. And that was such a big decision at 16 I literally said goodbye, I love you, and left. And with that, there were years of sort of coming into finding my own solidity on the earth and creating my own life, because I had to be my own family and being. And then from that, I had to rediscover what is home if it's not this place, or what is family, or the people who are in your community who are grounding aside from this construct that we've developed it as. And I found a lot of that in in spirituality, in being with different Buddhist texts, and being outside, and with art, and meditation. And as all of that became stronger in my life, that became my home. So the reason that life feels like the thing that I am most passionate about is because that is the thing that no matter what, that's here. And that sparks something. It sparks this joy and love and groundedness. It's always holding us. And undergrad, I did a project on this idea of the witness and how we all have a witness and how we witness each other. And through diving into that theme, I really felt like we all are our own witness. And whether or not we're really connected to it, we feel eventually when we sort of sit into meditation or we ground ourselves on the earth, we remember all of that and where we are and why we're here. And so in leaving, it offered me the chance to really break through all of those ideas of the things that hold us and figure out what is it inside, what is the biggest thing that really holds us, and that fuels me.
And the biggest thing that holds us is life itself.
It's like one of my favorite cues in yoga is let the breath breathe you, because so often we're trying to use certain breath work practices or control it, or we're just not even connected to it, but it is naturally always there in giving us this life force energy, the pranayama. So yeah, things like breath are so beautiful to be grateful for. It's true. I think number one, yoga is, we think of it as the asana, which is the physical practice, which is very valuable. And especially in the West, I think that we need a physical practice in order to soften the mind so that we can drop into a meditation like shavasana at the end. And we're just often so in our minds that connecting with our bodies reminds us that we're not our mind, connects us with our body. Like we like to think we can control so many different aspects, but at the end of the day, we're still human beings, and we're just here in a human body, and it's imperfect, and it's great, and it's wonderful, and it moves, and it breathes us, and we forget that sometimes in the thinking. So connecting with the breath, self-reflection, turning inward. There are so many different pieces, so it's also meditation, and it's also reading. I love to sit and read and be with some kind of text or book and really reflect on that and where it is in my life. And sometimes, you're reading and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, yes, they put it into words perfectly. So yoga is asana, and I love the embodiment of it and what it offers. And I also love the whole package of yoga. And so I teach and I practice in very different ways. Art is a way that we let a story move through us and out into whatever modality we think that we're using. And we don't always know what the story is. There may not be a tangibleness to what it means, but just going with the flow of art sort of tells its own story. I do a lot of painting and dancing, and it really is sort of goes its own way sometimes. Like yesterday I was just doodling. There was no real aim or concept behind it, so it sort of just comes as it needs to. Last week I was working on some Earth Goddess oracle cards for a yoga workshop, and it was so much fun to drop into the intention of connecting with the earth goddesses and then learning about each one and spending time with each little card. And I usually paint really big when I paint, but that process, the cards are small, and so I really had to get down into child's pose and sit and look at them closely and use smaller utensils. And there's something really magical about diving deep into a theme that I love. There's so much about the earth goddesses. A few things that really stuck out was there seems to be an earth goddess for almost every culture throughout time. And even in the present, people make up new ones. And as I was reading about them, I was sort of surprised by how much there's still effort to destroy these cultures, and especially folklore and earth goddesses. So there have been a lot of people that have come in and have tried to somehow erase them, and destroying their statues. And so as I was learning about the different earth goddesses, I felt a lot of fire about how we really need to celebrate them because we need to protect them and keep their knowledge alive and celebrate them and not let the patriarchy of our system just let them disappear. So that was really strong, and I didn't expect to learn that. It was funny because we know that this happens all over, but to see it in something that I don't usually think about it happening was really surprising. But individually, each of the earth goddesses really is a grounding force, and also a lot of them are talked about as motherly, so they have this holding nature to them, this nurturing quality. And then a lot of them, like for example Pachamama, she is really grounded and of the indigenous Andean mountain culture, and she brings out the nurturing earth mother quality, but at the same time, if you take too much from her, then she will come out and create earthquakes. There's this element to the earth goddesses of both nurturing and gentleness and holding, and also when it's needed, bringing the destruction to sort of wake us up. So I really appreciate that. About me, I think just that I'm human. I get to live this life where we have these bodies and we're on this earth. I've been talking so much with my friends about how, in theory, there could have been life on any of the planets that we know about, but we just happen to be born and given life on this planet that has these beautiful green plants, and we see the moon so clearly, and there's water to swim in, and there's so many different colors and things. Like when you go to Acadia, it's like there's the cliffs and then the trees and then the ocean of sand beach, and you have so much diversity in one place, and that's magical. I always tell my partner that if I'm ever really grumpy or stuck or anything, just throw me outside. It doesn't matter what the weather is, how I feel about that, just like bring me outside, because there's something about being on the earth. I don't know if it's biological, if it's psychological, if it's spiritual, I don't care, but there's something about just instantly spending time outside that sort of cuts through anything that's happening, and offers perspective. And I notice, for example, if I go outside and then there are a bunch of granite slabs, then I feel the energy of that grounding, and that taps through that. Or if lately I've been connecting with the tall pine trees when I've been camping, so I'll go out and I'll lay on a picnic table and just look up at the canopy, and there's this way that the trees, they're so sturdy and tall and solid, even though the canopy is moving and the birds are fluttering around and whatnot, and I'm sitting there grumpy or sad or whatever I may be feeling, it's like those trees are still solid and they're there, and it doesn't matter what I throw at them, they're still gonna be there. And so getting outside is really, really it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Children.
From children, there's so much to learn from children. Oh my gosh. Little ones are so, when they grow up in the right environment, especially, you see all of that magic that is inside of everything, the grass, the trees, inside of them, and they're just living it. Like, there's no alteration of their experience. Whatever they're experiencing, they share, they express it, and I learn everything from them. They teach unconditional love. I remember there was one moment I was with a little 4-year-old, and she wanted me to go down the slide. And so after some coercing, because there was a bit of a little crawling through action that had to happen, I went up and I went to go down the slide, and she just comes out and she's like, "Don't worry, I'll catch you." And I was like, my heart, like, there's this little 4-year-old, and she has no concept of, like, really that I'm bigger, and if she tried to catch me, it would not go well. But there's this way in which, like, it didn't occur to her. It didn't matter. She was just like, I am here, and I see you. And, like, my little 18-month-old, he'll just come over when he wakes up, and he'll say, nose, ear, mouth, eyes, and he'll poke me. But it's like, I see that you are still here. You exist. It's like, thank you for existing. So there's so much all the time. There's the way in which they play. Like, you get to play with them when you're hanging out with kids. And so often as adults, we are serious. And to be with little ones where you're speaking a different language, essentially, and just letting that magic come through via play is really, really fun. When you're out and about and you see something and you feel a little flutter in your stomach of, oh, that would be fun, follow it. Don't hide, don't squash it, don't tell yourself that it's not grown up enough, that you should be doing this, or this. Don't shit on yourself, as we say. Just follow it, or at least explore. You could start by writing, like, what would it be like if I did that? What would it feel like? You could do a meditation and sit and imagine yourself doing that. One of my favorite things to offer is a workshop I call Lila, which is this concept of divine play, and tapping into the spirit through play. And so the way that I offer it is often through yoga, dance, and paint, but paint as a physical experience during the yoga and dance. And anyone who comes leaves, they're like, wow, I feel like I played and I connected with my inner child, and it was so much fun, and I never thought that I would ever do that, but then here I was, and I was like, what am I doing? And I'm so glad that I did it. And so there are so many different ways and little workshops and things that are out there to reconnect to. So if you're feeling really lost in how you connect with your play, there's something out there for you. Don't lose hope.